Welcome to AssetRush The Talk. This is where we talk with the innovators of the financial sector. And today I'm here with Marc from Alt Alpha Digital. So please, Marc, introduce yourself.
Hi, Philip. Hi, Anastasia. It's nice to meet you guys and nice to be here. So I'm Marc, as you said, and I'm here because today, I want to talk a little bit about our newest baby, Alt Alpha Digital, our crypto fund of fund. And briefly to myself, I started in the finance sector. My career was there for 9 years. When I decided that it's time to switch things up, I went into the internet space, Web 2.0, you could say. I worked for Facebook, worked for Google then afterwards. And during this time also, I launched 3 different startups, from the healthcare space to law digitalization to an e-commerce company in the sustainability area. And now I decided it's time to kind of have a crossroad with finance and tech, and of course, crypto, blockchain, DLT, where else to go? So distributed ledger technology, and here I sit today with you.
That's certainly an interesting kickoff. And so tell us a bit what drives you, what drove you through these different stages, and where do you stand now with Alt Alpha Digital and where do you want to go?
So first off, I love to build. Started over 10 years ago when I co-founded the first company, and since then it just never really let me go. So I love the building process. I love the creativity you have when you're just starting with a blank piece of paper, just a blank canvas, where you can then kind of draw your vision, your imagination. Everything is possible. Also comes with a lot of pain, the building process, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of friction, but again, something that I love. And so this building aspect has been one thing that has been driving me constantly. And the other aspect I would say is also building myself, building a new Marc, a different Marc in regards to, educating myself, going into different sectors. I mean, I talked about the 3 different startups that were all in completely different sectors. And always someone got pulled into it. And also from within finance, I worked in wealth planning, was a client advisor, then I was a trader on the physical precious market side, then I went into digital, creating websites, working on database integrations, so I always had to do something new and something different. And that just for me is extremely interesting, and also here in the crypto space, because I always learn, I evolve, and I can create this network of decentralized information, if you want, that when you start to zoom out, suddenly lines start, plop together, things start to make more sense. I can build a more holistic view on the world and hopefully also, a more holistic Marc in that regard. And so it's really the building, and it's always this aspect of learning something new that drives me. And where do we stand with Alt Alpha? So we launched. We've been able to raise some money so far, over 2 million at this point, and are now actually right in the process of deploying that money into our target funds. So basically, we ourselves don't go out and buy Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the like, but really go out and pick these managers that have this subject matter expertise within an area, and then invest through them. And currently we're at roughly 85%. In December, where we should then be fully allocated. And then from then on, it's constant development, evolving, and there's still so much to do, and it's an interesting space to be in.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that sounds great. And what do you consider your personal impact?
So, a personal impact, I think there are different, lenses or levels to look at it. My personal impact, I'm going to start off with our clients, our investors, because what we really want to do, and this also has kind of a little personal backstory, is to be able to allow them to invest in a new world, in a new era of investing through the old world infrastructure. Because, cryptos, blockchain, NFTs, all these buzzwords, it's already complicated enough as it is to just understand how these things function, the impact that they could have in an economy, on a society. And then going out to, create your own wallets. And we're at the beginning, as I did, you send money into Nirvana. And when you started in about 2016, you suddenly realize when you put an 8 instead of a 6, your money is gone, and that was that. So what we really wanted to do is to create this bridge where people just, go to their bank that they already have, kind of the known and the trusted environment, And through that environment, through a product you guys might know, AMC, Active Managed Certificate, but I can tell you more about that later.
Really do a lot.
You can do a lot, and you can do it easy. So that is one aspect. The access, because so often, if you also look alternative investment in general, it's the access, it's the threshold that holds people back, not being able to participate in this new era of investing. So that is one angle. And the other angle is then, of course, the investing in itself. And if now yourself, you don't want to be a trader, you want to have a diversified approach to building a portfolio, an all-weather portfolio that has, offenses and defenses positions, that's really where then our solution comes into play. And that's kind of this basket, this bouquet that we've now built here and put together.
Absolutely wonderful and right to the spot. But when we now go a little bit deeper, where do you see the exact difference from your endeavor to maybe the market today?
So the market today, and let's consider the market as being long only, maybe index following, for example. Let's go with that premise. I think if you look in the crypto market, it's still so young. There's still so many inefficiencies existing that having a long only position can be quite nerve-wracking. I can talk also out of experience. I said 2015-16, I was there through the nice crash of 17. And you can just see that by looking at, what were the top 10 coins or tokens, 4 or 5 years ago. You won't see many familiar names anymore. So it shows this market is very much dynamic, and some names, they might disappear fully. So that's a part where, on this passive, long only tracking, trying to track an index approach is where we see a lot of opportunity in the active management, in really finding subject matter experts. For example, we have a team, ex-investment bankers, that are really focusing on decentralized finance on the one hand, or that you, for example, have neuroscientists who use brainwave pattern detection to see, when there, and I'm simplifying this, but when is there fear in the market, to engage then. And so that's really the difference that we take, is by selecting the teams on their subject matter that they really focus on, and then putting this together again in a bouquet where we have offensive players, but also defensive players, because this market is volatile and a lot can happen. And that's where we really want to provide this downside protection for our customers, because not everyone can easily stomach a 50% drop over the weekend.
Certainly not. Can you say a bit more about the constitution of these portfolios and the players you are working with, the partners that you work with on that side?
One aspect is really now, like an index and ex-banking team, that are really focusing on decentralized finance. First off, we always look at the people, and they're simplifying things, who better to kind of dethrone the finance sector than those people who were really, in the top ranks in the traditional world. And, they also have there then a differentiated viewpoint on these protocols, these technologies. And so when I mean a protocol, for example, looking at a layer 1 solution, so an Ethereum blockchain, that is then really a tech base in itself, or then you have Solana, so on the one hand, having that lens put on. But at the same time, then also looking at decentralized exchanges, these DEXs, an Aave or SushiSwap, and then again having a viewpoint and opinion there where, for example, you can run discounted cash flow models to kind of see what's the business value that this platform can bring. Plus then also what comes new, and blockchain is not only an investment or a stock or a company on a new set of database infrastructure, but also has a community aspect. For example, on Discord or on Reddit, to really kind of dive deep to see how's the community accepting these new technologies. So that was just, one example on DeFi of a team, looking into it, having a different view, a different layered approach on this strategy in itself. But then we also have, fund managers that have been in the traditional finance world for now quite some years, and have launched a fund where, again, they dissect the crypto world into 3 buckets. For example, if you look at Bitcoin, where you can have models as so-called stock-to-flow models to really look on how could a Bitcoin price then develop into the future. And now, I don't know how deep you guys want to go, but just to give you kind of a flavor, are there different viewpoints of how you can look at this technology, and there are different backgrounds of people that we invest in, who then can really propel their view within the market and then within investment strategy.
Thank you very much for that. So, of course, we want to hear more about it, but I think we also have some clear questions regarding the ecosystem that you are in and the way you want to go within, let's say, this development of markets. So tell us a bit more where you see your position there, where you see yourself as a driver in the evolution of the financial markets.
Here, and I'm going to start again off on the, let's say, the nearest point. And that is, first and foremost, it's really this bridge building aspect. Because even though, we're talking a lot of crypto, on-chain, all the possibilities, the majority of the money and the interest is still in the quote-unquote old world. So first step is really being to build a bridge for investors to have, this ease of access and also have a more comfortable access, a diversified access to the market, kind of a phase one if you want. A phase two is then really going into the market and also looking, at the talent that's out there. I know a lot of people, are very talented, who have, viewpoints, theses on investment themes that, however, are still within their day job, so to speak, because, leaving your day job and really making something where you have a passion for your full-time job, it's not as easy as just having an idea. The same as just having an idea, starting a company. Execution is an incredible large amount of the pie that you have to cover, which is, especially in the finance, very difficult. You have licensing, you have software, you have so many things you have to comply with and ramp up on. And on a second phase, I really also hope to be able to act, there as an incubator through our group, through the BFI Capital Group. We're a wealth management technology firm with a 30-year track record, to then really able to onboard and support, this talent that is out there in the market, which yet again, creates prosperity and opportunities for investors, but then also in the end, through the money and the investment, should help build, a new infrastructure, a new generation of interaction within an economy and a society. Mm-hmm. And the last third point is also, if we now specifically look at Switzerland, I think we're in a unique position. Not only we're in a unique position if we, sticking with the finance sector. I mean, we have such a heritage dating so long back. We can take a lot of pride in the service that we've offered in the finance system we have built here. And I dearly hope we can continue to hold this position and transform it into the next generation, into the digital sphere. And we're doing a lot here also from a regulatory standpoint. Our government is being here very forthcoming and clear and really helping build this ecosystem, and also combining our national DNA as innovators with great, public education and universities here to build beyond the finance sector. And I, of course, hope that through, then one or the other measure, through then, the scaling, to also have an impact there and just, provide my little support in putting a little stone into this brick wall, or being able to help others put their stones into this larger brick wall, and upon which we can then, build a new future.
I mean, Switzerland went through quite a development in the last 10, 15 years. I mean, certainly the market has changed, but we also show to be innovative enough to actually host, let's say, a lot of the innovation in the financial markets. With Crypto Valley, just as one example, but also many other good examples in the fintech space. I think that's clearly refers to what you just said, to the talent and actually also the education we have combined here in Switzerland, and actually to be such a lead, be in such a good position for actually many years. And working on these topics for many years also helped us to go through that innovation and helped us actually to reinvent into the future. Now, Anastasia, maybe you have another question for Marc here.
Yes, maybe. How do you see your personal impact to this growth of the ecosystem and of the company? Your personal role in that?
So here, going back again, really, first and foremost, the builder, kind of helping really support from scratch. And of course, I'm not alone. As I said, there are many more people who are supporting and really providing a lot of value to this. But having this set up, getting this running on the one hand, the bridge building aspect that I also mentioned, and when it comes to creating growth, I think creating growth for our company or for our fund, it really comes in first and foremost by creating value for our customers. And we do that by going out and selecting the best, the talented fund managers out there, who then yet again go out and really make, based on their fundamental analysis, their approach and their experience, are able to invest in these base protocols, these technologies, these coins, these tokens, where they prescribe the highest value being projected out in the future, which yet again will then funnel into these teams that are working on it, help them through be it cash flow, but also through awareness, through marketing, because suddenly investors see that coin XYZ is a large position within their portfolio. I hope that they'll go online, Google it, and just have a look at it. What is actually being done? What is actually being created? So that's kind of a chain that I'm now simplifying here, but that's also I really hope that starting with we and then going through this chain, we can create and build up on this value.
Where is that geographically based? I mean, I guess you look at the whole world and the global impact of these new endeavors. Now tell us a bit how you succeed in doing that.
So currently we really have a bias towards Switzerland, and also to your point, how do we succeed? It also comes with our personal network. So our personal network is very strong in Switzerland, but also in the US. And that's also through, some of these funds, we've already personally been invested through many years. And so there's a personal relationship, a longer standing relationship already existing, due diligence and just the vetting through time. So that was, the start point. You also have, in London, UK. But to your point, we're also actively looking at funds now in the US, in Asia, and also across Europe. However, there, we really want to make sure we don't want to have this shotgun approach in the sense of just spreading out very quickly to, for the sake of diversifying, but really make sure that the picks we take, we have a high degree of conviction, have a concentration, and of course also that they fit within this bouquet, that I described that we are building there. So through time, you will also see other nations be joining. But currently it is Switzerland and England.
Wonderful.
Probably from my side. So you mentioned now a few times that you trust in the talent, that that they would find the new probably opportunities for growth. But do you have some kind of a framework to assess if their proposal is actually valid?
Yes. So there we do have the due diligence framework on the one hand that you speak of, and there I said, I'm very happy to not having to go this journey alone, but to go this journey, with a finance group that is around 30 years, because that's exactly where a lot of the know-how can be drawn from. For example, Dirk, our chief investment officer, has been an asset manager for over 30 years and always joins me in the due diligence call. And I very much cherish his input, his experience, because again, to the point, a lot of, are looking at this market very bullish, a lot going up. But then having someone there who says, Mark, I was there when the internet crash happened, the dot-com days. And just having this, this healthy skepticism towards, this new wave is extremely helpful. Because I clearly, come from more than technology lens, having, especially through the experience with Facebook and Google, having seen the power that, internet, Web 2.0 really has. I mean, we all know these are powerful companies, but it's just a bit of different level when you kind of have this front row seat. Having that and combining it with just, the experience within the financial markets for decades, but also the experience in investing hedge funds for over a decade in itself, that is something when it comes to framework that can really be combined, where these two worlds, and that's also, this emergence, this intersection of technology and finance, it then comes together. And those are really the experiences that we can leverage within this also newer field.
Maybe speaking a bit of what you do differently in detail, where do you think you oppose most to the peers in your market?
Talking about how we do things differently, I'm going to address two layers. First, I'm going to address people, just because I have a strong conviction that people and talent human capital is incredibly important, especially in the investing realm. That on the first level, and then on the second level, I'm going to talk about product that we use in an actively managed certificate. When talking on the people level, I think it's also to underscore what we do differently is that how we are different. I mentioned we're an asset manager with a 30-year track record, but not only that, we have 4 operating companies. And the reason why we have these companies and why we've evolved so strongly is because at our hearts, in our DNA, we're problem solvers. So we started off with this holistic wealth management, asset managed solution provider. And then through time, realized that our clients have a real yearning and a need for physical precious metals. So we launched a company, BFI Bullion, that exclusively deals in physical precious metals, gold, silver, platinum, palladium, bars and coins. So, as offline as it can be, stored in vaults, high security vaults, thick, walls, guards with guns, the whole shebang. Then, out of that, having worked in the precious metals industry, Switzerland is a leading force. It's also from import-export precious metals, or gold specifically, holds place 1 or 2. So this is really important also for us as a nation, and we're kind of a hidden champion in that regard. But out of that, we launched the most recent company, AssetRush. It's a blockchain company. And when I say blockchain, I'm not talking about tokens or coins. I'm really talking about distributed ledger technology used within a tech stack to solve for a problem that is faced within the precious metals industry, being on a supply chain and provenance side, being a know your product. Because you want to make sure where these gold bars coming from, on the one hand, not some shady mines, but on the other hand also, we have mines and refiners in Switzerland that are creating or are minting these gold bars and coins a lot from recycled gold. So you think about ESG, also that is important. Recycled gold, the footprint on the environment is much lower. But now suddenly you can use blockchain technology to really ratify for that and also create this trusted ledger and have an industry come and work together. So you see, we're a group that started as an asset manager, now has a blockchain company, and maybe also, to your point, where's the expertise, the experience? We have a team of engineers that just work on blockchain. And I'm not going to go on a limb and just say there are not a lot of asset managers that have that combination as a company, that's backing this crypto fund to fund. And now on a second layer, again, people. You have me. I gave you the quick rundown from finance to tech, now into crypto. Kind of the line makes now sense in hindsight. But then we also have the other Marc Benick. A friend I've now also known for almost a decade, who, this great entrepreneur who started in college, a lawyer by trade, created his first startup, a party platform, sold that, has been since then been a serial entrepreneur, has had multiple exits in tech startups, most recently selling crypto finance to the Deutsche Börse. He's invested in Bitcoin as early as 2012 and has been in crypto hedge funds in many years. So that is someone who has a long track record within the crypto space and the tech space. I mentioned Dirk, engineer by training, founded his own real estate companies, and now has been 30 years in the asset management business. And last but not least, Frank, our group chairman, who started off as a management consultant, always driven by solving problems, and has now been a turned finance entrepreneur, creating these 4 companies in these completely different realms. But again, all within the name of solving problems. That's our DNA. So that's really, when it comes to us, that's what we do different. And that's also what we're looking for in the teams that we then invest in.
Wonderful. Now, speaking a bit more, or coming back to ecosystem, you're part of the AssetRush ecosystem as you're here today. What do you expect mostly out of collaborating with AssetRush and Gen2?
Well, first off, going to see you on stage.
Definitely.
So from my expectation, it's really having this chance to get together and collaborate with people who have the same interest. And now on the one hand, we're talking about crypto, which it's a growing market, but still a small one. But zooming out, I consider crypto as part of the alternative investment space. The space, since the money printers have been going crazy, has becoming even more important. And the point that we didn't touch on before, but actively managed certificates, this ability being able to securitize private markets, investment opportunities that have maybe been not existed, not been able to monetize, just creates this new wave of opportunities where I also expect to then, and this is now thinking for the group, being put into contact with innovators in that regard, because people are generally concerned of what to do with their money, and they're looking for opportunities. And as said, access so far, a lot of these big hedge funds or endowments or billionaires, they have the opportunities to partake in alternative investments with high minimum thresholds, multiple millions required, that just are out of reach for so many people. And I think this approach of being able to structure that your community is doing, that also part in, and that also we want to contribute our part, is really something that I think is extremely important for the investors out there, becoming increasingly important. And so I expect on the one hand that access, that possibility, and also what I cherish is, of course, these opportunities, being able to get together and also speak, tell of our story, and have a platform to not only listen to others, but also share our views of the world and how we are engaging them.
Absolutely. I mean, that's exactly what it's for, and that's exactly what we encourage. We try to bring the investors and the innovators, so to say, together, and actually give them a voice to actually participate in that ecosystem and thrive this purpose-oriented ecosystem forward and into the future. Now, if you could wish for one thing out of that ecosystem, what would that be?
So within the realms of your possibilities, I think it's really, make sure that all the great talent that comes through your door, that now first and foremost, fits on the crypto bill, send them over to me, because the most important thing for us is we really want to service our clients the best we can. We want to find the best for them. So that is our job. That's my only job, is to have access, find and source the best talent out there. So that is the golden ticket I would like to use. Always send them over, because as said, that's really what we're looking for, and very thankful for all the introductions you can make.
Well, we certainly will do our best, and we certainly will open up all connections possible, and we certainly will support your endeavor in the best way we can. And we are highly interested in your solutions. So thank you very much for being here, and thank you for the talk.
Thank you, Naegeli.